Well, hey, and welcome back to Chat with Me. Again, I'm Eddie. I'm the one doing this thing. I'm the one talking to you. Um, and I'm still on, but I think this is going to be my last one, guys. Maybe permanently or forever with regards to the toxic traits. I'm obviously going to still be looking up, um, you know, things in my life, looking through them, hindsight, all this stuff, and coming up with other topics and ideas. The past two have just been very uh, deep and good for me from a self-reflection standpoint, but I kind of want to get into some other things as well. And this little series, I think I might have jumped in too deep because I found a lot out there. So what I recently did after the last episode was I just went through the rest of the list that I'd made, and I was like, okay, I'm good here, I'm good here, I'm good here. But I found a couple more that I was like, ooh, man, wow. Yeah, I'm still kind of doing those every once in a while myself. So, then there's other things that I want to be talking about on this podcast and doing and whatnot. So I decided I'm gonna grab these last two, maybe three, and just go over them real quick with just a few examples of me in my life. And again, I'm just hoping that it kind of helps you guys do some self reflection and see areas that you need to make adjustments so that you're not being toxic to yourself, you're not being toxic to other people. So we're kind of jumping into it because I want to make this one kind of a little shorter episode for you guys. So here we go. Let's just jump into it. So and I'm gonna kind of I might try to do all three of these. All right, let's go. Stop talking, Eddie, and start talking about this stuff that made a lot more sense in my head. So another toxic trait is obviously reliving the past. And this one's been difficult for me. The past obviously can't be done. It cannot be changed. It is what it is. It's there. People, I even say this, the past has made me who I am today, and et cetera, et cetera, But so it cannot be changed. It becomes a matter of fact as soon as it happens. Letting our minds continuously drifting back to those past events, and that letting that past hurt comes up, and allowing it to continue to fester and things of that nature, repeating and revisiting. It has no value. Well, little value. I mean, I do believe that out of everything good comes something bad, and out of everything bad comes something good. So sometimes looking back at it and learning from those mistakes is a great thing. But that's really, in my opinion, what the past can do for us. It can teach us. But dwelling on things that have already passed, it just it's like you're hooking a trailer up to all that negativity and that pain and toting it along with you. One, it's tiring. It's going to wear you out, and you're just going to be constantly reminded of that pain. It's like you get a bruise and you keep poking at it. It's going to keep hurting, but that bruise happened months ago, weeks ago, years ago, whatever. I realize I did that out of order, but you guys get the picture, But just generally speaking, past pain is felt far more vividly than past pleasure. And it seems that way. Negativity always seems to hold an impact more than the positive does. And I've relived past events, divorces, the defamation of character, and past pains and hurts, things like emotionally mainly. But so it's like we've gotta learn, we've gotta work on getting out of that. And so again, the way that I've been doing it again for myself is when I start to dwell, or I start thinking about the past. If I feel myself slipping too much, I write a list out. I write the bad things, how that made me feel. And then I go into writing more about how I'm getting over it, what I learned from it, how I can change that. And sometimes I don't figure out a way on everything, but it does help me by starting to write the positives out of those negative situations. It starts to help me see things in a different light, and it does actually help me. But continuously reliving it over and over just stuffs us further down in a deep, dark pit of despair, And I talk about it a lot. Like, one of the most relevant things that I talk about in a lot of things is the whole defamation of character I went through about 3 years ago. And mainly because it still has an impact, not just on me from reliving it and kind of dwelling on it at times, but there's still little traces of things that swoop around when I'm not paying attention that kind of kick me in the gut. But what I do is when that stuff comes up, it's like, okay, well, what did I learn from that? How can I turn this into a positive? And those specific things aren't things I want to go into right now. That's not the point of this one. But it is a lot of times the negative things from the past do creep up on us again and again throughout our life. But if we focus on how to turn those negative things into lessons, then we focus on what we learned. Now we're working on personal growth, and then we start to build off of those positive building blocks instead of that nasty swamp of shit that we were in. Now this one kind of goes hand in hand, in my opinion. But another toxic, a trait that can become very toxic is worrying about the future. Just because the past can't be undone. Sorry, misspoke there. Just like the past cannot be done, the future cannot be foreseen. I hope that now makes sense after my stuttering and stumbling. So the effects of negative emotions are far greater than their positive counterparts. Again, so if we worry, you got worry and anxiety, those two things can easily take over our minds. It encompasses us. Just like worrying about, reliving the past and all those pains. If you start worrying about the future, well, what if, what if I lose my job? What if he leaves me? What if she leaves me? That stuff it becomes to manifest in us, And a lot of times, for me at least, reliving the past turns into worrying about the future, So that's why I try to look at the past and find the positives, and that helps me start building towards the future. Because we don't know what's going to happen, Hope for the best, prepare for the worst is I guess a great way of looking at that, Having goals, having dreams and plans, aspirations. It's not a bad thing, obviously, because especially not when you've got a past. Take those learning blocks and help those lessons learn with your future goals in that path that you're taking, so that you don't make those same mistakes, so that you don't go through those same pains, But if you just sit in your room and you worry about, I'm going to lose my job every day you're at work, I'm not good enough, I'm going to lose my job. Well, yeah, you're going to stop working, you're going to focus on the wrong things, you're going to focus on the negatives, you're going to lose your job, Your boyfriend or girlfriend might leave you because you become mopey and you become negative, and then you become toxic and it starts bleeding into their lives, It's just, to me, like after reading up on these things a little bit, things just became clearer to me. Not that I've got this great vision, just for me personally. I started, like I said, I looked at all the worrying I did about the past and reliving it, and then the worrying about the future. And so writing all these things down for myself on where was the positive out of the past. Even the negative things, what did I learn from that? It started helping me prepare to start to move towards reaching and achieving and annihilating some of my goals. And they're not all huge goals. I mean, heck, y'all, one of them was just actually recording the intro podcast for this. I had done a podcast before. And we just, my partner and I in that, we kind of just went willy-nilly, just talk about whatever. Well, it did okay. It got boring. It became mundane. It was just like, I don't want to do it. So I looked at that quote-unquote failure of us stopping that, and I started to look at, okay, if I'm going to do this again, what were the positives out of that? What did I learn from the negatives? What were the negatives? I was like, okay, let's get this a little more calculated. Let's have topics, Eddie. Like I got two people here. But, Eddie, get a topic. Look the topic up. Read it. Correlate that. Compare it into your life and the things that you're doing. Does this help you, Eddie? Or might this help others? I don't know. I think a lot of it has helped me. Maybe not as much as I want, to be honest. I mean, heck, I'm not making money off of this thing. I don't even know how many people actually follow this, but I get some good views on some days. Other days I get one or two, downloads or listens or views, whatever you guys want to call it. And yeah, I stuff it over to YouTube, so views is accurate. But point being, I looked at the past with regards to that old podcast. I looked at how I did it. I looked at all the negatives. And so I started to pull out lessons that I learned from doing that, and I'm trying to do this one differently. Still not quite scheduled with it, guys. Seriously, I'll get excited about one. I'm like, all right, this one's gonna go out on Thursday. By Tuesday night, I'm like, post it. So it's still random, just like my other one. But this one just seems to be a little bit different. But I could have sat there and worried about how, you got bored with it. It became mundane, all the negative, and never done this. But now I'm doing it, and I realize there's bigger fish to fry and bigger issues out there. I'm just using this small little example of this podcast to help you guys see where my thought process was on it. So, but again, having goals, dreams, plans, and aspirations is not a bad thing. But they should be looked at as possibilities and not outright certainties, And the same goes for, future risks, relationships. And just because you are hurt in 1, 2, 3, 20, 40, 80, 90, 100 relationships, or 100 women or 100 men, doesn't mean you can't take from those bad experiences, learn something, find the positives, and start building a firmer foundation in those things so that the 100th man, the 200th woman, whatever the case might be, can't be better and stronger. And if you worry about the negative, you're just manifesting it. And if you believe in God, and you don't focus on the positive, I feel it's the same, whether it's Buddha, whether it's God, whether it's the lucky rabbit's foot, the universe, it doesn't matter. I believe that what you put out, you get. So if you focus on the positives and you focus on learning from everything and not reliving the past and not worrying about the future, things will start to go a little smoother. There's going to be bumps in the road. We all know that. It's life. Life's not easy. Life's not fair. I get that. After 44 years, I think I learned that yesterday. But, so again, just start finding positives in everything and start detoxing your mind, your heart, your soul, everything from as much as you can. Now, granted, some of those things from the past might be so deep-rooted and dark and horrible, you might need to go seek professional help to do this. I'm just a dude, y'all, holding a $20 mic in my hand, talking about stuff that I've been through and I'm looking up and the things that I've done or I'm trying to do to just become better and better. It's just like a job. I'm not rich. I'm not famous. I don't make phenomenal money. I struggle just like the majority of us in this world financially. It'd be nice if I didn't, but, point being, I'm doing things better. I understand why in the past that I've struggled with money. When I had money, I spent too much of it and I still struggled. I earned $1, spent $2. Now I'm in a position I have been. I earned $1, I spent $1. Now I'm getting myself to a point where it's like, all right, well, I earn $1. I'm still not really good at it, but, I spend 75 cents. Sometimes I spend 99 cents. So, point being is I'm just learning from my past. I'm not worrying as much about the future. I still worry about the future. I've got a 6-year-old. I've got a 19-year-old. I've got a 21-year-old. I still worry, but I don't allow it to become so in-depth and engrossed in that it becomes toxic. I've got goals, dreams, and aspirations. But those are things that I am building foundations in. I am trying to take the steps appropriate to make them happen. If they do, they do. Phenomenal. I'm going to celebrate. If they don't, you know what? At least I tried. At least I put effort into it. And, some of the things that I'm doing, it's not necessarily for monetary return. It's just to get information out there. Yes, if, my books. If people buy them, I make $5. Great. If somebody buys a copy and then shares it and they share it and they share it and it reaches 1,000 people, 2,000 people, and I only made $5, awesome. Hopefully I changed some lives in the sharing of my book, you know? And just to try and wrap this up, I'm going to try so hard to squeeze this one in here as a toxic trait, because this happened to me the other night. But the overuse of technology, as we are all sitting on technology, I am recording and hopefully you guys will be listening. But think about this. With how quick, the pace of technological progress, and the influence it has on our lives, it's growing daily. TikTok and Instagram and the pictures and, TikTok videos, you swipe after a few seconds, or you watch a, 15-second video, swipe, 15-second video, swipe. It's insane. We're just like bam, 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 bam. Everything's at our fingertips, But while many of these inventions are very helpful and for the most part harmless, there are instances where your use, or mine, and eventual dependence, whether it's you swiping or recording and posting, but that eventual dependence on technology does become a problem. I believe that there's great benefits from gaming, but if you start obsessing and become dependent on gaming, and social media, I think there's great stuff on social media, but you become dependent on the likes, the views, or liking and getting the attention of some creator. It's a slippery slope. Heck, for me, I tell all my clients, get 8 hours of sleep. You need to get 8 hours of sleep. Now, I deal with a little bit of insomnia, and I understand there are people that have worse insomnia than me, so getting 8 is difficult. But, if they're getting 1 and I can help them get 2, hey, progress, it's better. Okay? But the other night, I was talking to a friend, and I was like, all right, well, night. And she's like, night. I'm like, all right, cool. I get in bed, I grab my phone. 45 minutes later, I'm like, oh, crap, I need to go to bed. I woke up the next morning feeling like garbage. And that impacted my entire day at work, my day with friends, and things like that. It can be very, very, very addictive. And in a blink of an eye, you're swiping on Instagram or liking on Facebook or into 3 videos on YouTube, whatnot. As I'm saying all this on technology, and I know you guys are using technology to listen to it, I'm just hoping that what you're gaining out of this puts things into perspective. Hopefully this is slightly educational and helpful. But again, just the lure of technology can be highly addictive, if it's not kept in check. And that's kind of my point about all of these things. All these little toxic traits are big or huge or medium size or extra large size. You need to put all this stuff in check and make sure that it doesn't become toxic for you and thus seeping out into other people's lives and becoming toxic for them as well. So now, like I said, you guys can all go to the Google machine, all onto the World Wide Web, and find all these toxic traits. I mean, like ignoring self-care. I might do a little series on self-care, not speaking out, holding on to loss, resisting new experiences, and, all this type of stuff. There's so many out there. I just picked the ones that I felt were, when I was looking at these, what I was doing. In the best way, since I'm not a professional, I'm not a shrink, I'm not I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist. I didn't go to school for this stuff. I'm just a guy who went through some fucking bullshit in his life. And I did some fucking stupid bullshit in life. I reacted wrong. I interpreted wrong. I didn't communicate well. I did this toxic behavior, that toxic behavior. Hell, my first wife, when we were first married, we were 21, 22. I'd get mad, I'd turn around and punch a wall. Yes, I admit it. I had anger issues. I had things that I could have, from my past, I could sit there and say, oh, well, it's that. It's because of that. It's because of that. Well, yes. However, it was also because I couldn't control myself and I was being toxic. So, again, through all of this, I just hope that just causes you to open your eyes and look within and start making some changes to keep all these things in check and get them under control. So, hope you like the little series. I'm going to be working on some new stuff. check me out on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, whatever else I'm on. And like I said a couple times, I do have a Patreon. If you guys like this and you want me to be able to get a $25, maybe a $30 mic. No, y'all want to help support this, there is a Patreon. You can go to Patreon and just look up Chat With Me. It's on there. I really haven't done much with it because, you know what? It's more about doing it than right now for me than making money off of it. If y'all want to chip in, great. If you don't, awesome. It's just like I created a merch line. I don't promote it, okay? I don't. Because if somebody, they go to my beacons from my TikTok and they see, merch line, they look, they want to buy something. You don't. I talk about the books. You want to buy it. You don't. It's okay. I'm enjoying doing this, and I prefer the feedback from you guys. So speaking of that, I did create a Facebook page called Chat With Me. It's got a picture of my ugly mug in the profile. So if you guys are on Facebook, check it out. Come in there, answer questions, interact with me, guys. Interact with me, because right now I can't, because I'm sitting here on my lunch break at work, November 3rd, recording this thing by myself. So find me on social media, interact with me, message me, comment on posts, all that stuff. Like I said, I'm on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and multiple platforms for the podcast. Spotify, Acast, Google. You really can't comment anything there. So find the platforms that you can find me. And, chat with me, communicate with me, interact with me, and let me know how you guys are doing and what you guys think of what I'm doing. So, but again, as always, thank y'all. Much love. Hope you're having a great morning, day, afternoon, evening, weekday, weekend, wherever you are, whatever time of day it is you're listening to this. I hope you're having the best. And if not, I hope this might have put a little smile or a little light bulb above your head, a little aha moment. And I hope that you start making some steps and strides towards being better and doing better for yourself and everyone around you. Again, y'all, much love. Have a great one. And on that note, that's a wrap. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed this and you want to continue to support the page, please click follow or subscribe or whatever the platform you're listening on says. Feel free to share this to other people that might find it entertaining or educational, I dare say. But, if you also want to continue to find other ways to support me and the podcast, you can head on over to my Beacons link. That's beacons.ai/Eddie Bowers. I also have a Patreon page. If you go over to patreon.com, just type in Chat With Me, and that'll take you to the page. There are a few different membership programs there. Do not feel obligated. Of course, I'd appreciate it, but you can just follow it there as well and see some updates. I do things that are just to the public, as well as some special things for members there. Every little bit counts, every little bit helps, but the biggest thing is just you guys listening and finding me on social media and interacting with me. So again, I appreciate each and every one of you. Much love, and have an amazing morning, afternoon, day, evening, whatever time it is that you are listening to this. I appreciate you. Have an amazing day. And remember, you're worth it.